Hi, it's Pastor David Tart here with Dr. Martin Luther. Because this Sunday is Reformation Sunday, a day in which we celebrate this wonderful, amazing, brilliant, yet flawed person who in 1517, in a little remote college town called Wittenberg, Germany, truly unlocked uh, the word for people. And I have this picture of him because I always want him staring at me in my office whenever I come up with a sermon or teach something or design a worship service, because Martin Luther always reminds all of us, that when it comes to the Christian life, it's about the word and about freedom. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Hi, welcome to our Toward the Dawn channel, and especially to Unlocking the Word. I'm so glad that you're listening or viewing this podcast. And I want to invite you to like it, share it, subscribe to it, not because we're looking for numbers, because that doesn't matter to us at Toward the Dawn, but we are looking for as a group of people who just absolutely love the Word and who love to dialogue about it. So be sure to comment your insights into the word for the day or to something I've said. Feel free to disagree or feel free to fill in the blanks of something you think I missed. And we will have a wonderful time working through these wonderful texts. And of course, we're going to keep our channel and our podcast safe. We're not going to allow for abusive language, hateful language. This is going to be a podcast that's all about respect and about coming together to embrace what God is speaking to us. So anyway, thank you for listening, and let's do the unlocking the word for today. Hi. The context for this Roman 8 reading, I think, is very important and often is not really talked about. Because right before this story, there's an insertion of the story of the woman caught in adultery, which is absolutely powerful, and I would love to do Unlocking the Word on it. But you can see that it's clearly an insertion. It's like gospel writer John had this story he just really wanted to tell about this woman caught in adultery, and so he just slipped it in right there, which is a sermon in and of itself. But anyway, this context is that the Jews at that time, I'd rather call them the leadership, the Jewish leadership, because there was a big difference between the Jewish leadership and the Jewish people at this time. But anyway, that's another talk. But the Jewish leadership really wanted to arrest Jesus. They had had enough. And they had gone to the police and they had said, hey, you know what, the temple police, hey, we've had enough of this guy. He's challenging our authority. He's challenging the law. And he's challenging really our control over the faith and over the people. He's starting to say things that just run contrary to our authority. Because after all, we are the religious authorities. We know what's best for everybody. We know what God is thinking. We know what God wants. And we're going to make sure all the people, dance in step, march in step with what we see God wants of them. And Jesus is coming along and he's challenging all that. And again, I could have a long lecture about that, but I don't want to bore you. So they've had enough. And so you can see it's a confrontation between Jesus and these religious authorities. But there are Jews, and notice Jews, because a lot of times people will say that John's anti-Semitic, but he's not, because there are Jewish people who believes in Jesus. And you can imagine they were confused. Who do we believe? Do we believe Jesus and what he is saying about the Word made flesh and dwelling among us and freeing us from the temple, which is another talk I would love to give to you? But he was, or do we believe in the religious rulers who are saying, "Babe, if you don't come back to us, we're going to kick you out of the synagogue. You're not going to connect anymore." You can imagine you're not going to connect with the community anymore. You can imagine their confusion and their fear and not knowing what's going to happen next if they decide to follow Jesus, who they believe in. So they're looking for some kind of comfort, some kind of encouragement. Why are we doing this, Jesus? Why are we following you? Which, again, good question for today, isn't it? Because we hear a lot of negative things about Christianity and following Jesus, or they just water Christianity down and so forth and so on. We believe in Jesus, but we wonder if it's worth it. And this is what is so beautiful about this, and what Martin Luther discovered. And this is the main thing I want to unlock for you today. The Word is the truth. And this truth makes us free. What is the truth? Right? That's going to be something that Pilate's going to ask Jesus in the Gospel of John when he's being on trial before he's to be crucified, right? What is the truth? What is true? Here Jesus says, the truth is that we are no longer a slave to sin, and that sin does not have a place to rule over us. But instead of sin, there is the Son, there is Jesus. He makes us free. But free of what? And here's good old Martin Luther. This is like, the centerpiece. You get this, you get Luther. What does the Son do? How does the Son free us? Frees us from bondage to our guilt and shame. Because that's what sin does. Sin is sin for a reason. The reason why it's sin is because it wrongs, it hurts, it damages, it destroys, it erodes, it does everything it can to bring us down to nothing but animals who live by power and greed and getting what we want out of life and not have any concern about each other or about everyone. It's just one big king of the hill battle. Who's going to be on top at the end? That's what sin is. Sin is control. Sin wants to dominate. Sin wants to win. Sin wants to put the rules down. Sin wants to completely destroy the dignity and the freedom of the individual. That's what sin does. And look at your life right now. Look at our world. It's full of it. Our own lives are full of it. Sin. It's not just, oh, heck, I'm sorry I said a bad word. No, sin runs deeper than that. Sin wants to control you, and it's powerful. As Luther says, we're in bondage to sin. You can't stop it. You can't stop it ever. No good works will ever free you from sin. There's nothing you can do or not do to overcome the power of that kind of brokenness in our lives. You were born a sinner, you're going to die a sinner. It's that simple. It's that powerful. And it can rule over us. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. You want to do good, and you're doing bad. You want to prove your worth, and it doesn't work out. That's sin. But see, the power of this wonderful, wonderful reading and the power of what Martin Luther did, he said, you know what? It's about the freedom of the word, the truth that Jesus lives and rules over all things, including our sin, that through his grace and through his mercy and through his life, he frees us from this. We don't have to live under the power of shame and guilt and the power of greed and the power of selfishness and the power of relying on our own good works, the power of trying to always build ourselves up. We don't have to live that way. It's amazing. It is flat amazing to be free of guilt and shame. That's what Martin Luther had. And when he discovered this gospel, and especially in Romans, which we're going to also read on Sunday, he said, we're saved by faith. We're not saved by good works. Good works is just another way of rattling the chains. He said when he experienced this, it was like heaven opened up. It changed him radically. He dumped the guilt and the shame and replaced it with the freedom that faith gives them and trusting in God's good graces to save them. It changed everything. It'll change you. And it's changed me. When you give up the good works, when you give up the constant striving to be number one, the constant striving to fit in, and see how Jesus automatically makes you fit in through his grace and love and by and be a baptized child of God. Changes everything. It unlocks freedom for you. The freedom to be who you are. The freedom to love. The freedom to have peace in your life. The freedom to always have hope. All right, that's the unlocking of the word for today. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning and toward the dawn at 10 o'clock, whenever that is. It's just for you, whatever time is Central Daylight Time right now. We'll change soon to Central Standard Time, but it's at 10. And I really look forward to joining with you in our online community on Zoom. You are welcome, as you are. We love new people because new people bring new ideas and new insights and new stories. We just love it. So anyway, God bless you and look forward to seeing you.